Alright, hello fun and welcome back to my Fallout 4 Mod Spotlight series, where today we are having a look at the Photon Disruptor mod, which is being released by user Nahir. And what this glorious little piece of work looks to add into the game is a fun new Institute energy weapon in the form of the Photon Disruptor. And I quite like this weapon, though it is kind of big and bulky. I love that the mod maker added in a lore reason for its existence, in that this is an early version of Institute energy weaponry, basically the predecessor to the current modern in-game Institute rifle, and thus it all makes sense with its looks, and I really like that lore reason. So let's jump on over here and have a look at what we do get with the Photon Disruptor, which in its most basic and standard form will do 18 energy damage using the standard fusion cells, with a firing rate of 66, range of 71, accuracy of 72, for a weight of 3.9. Not too bad there. And as you can see, this is a pretty interesting looking gun. It definitely does, to me at least, look like something that would be an early prototype for energy weaponry for the Institute. It just kind of has that feel to me, and overall does look, though bulky, kind of neat. I actually think I like it over the current bulky Institute weapons. It may be bulky, but at least this has a little bit of flair, which is pretty darn cool, and does have a good list of various modifications that you can add to this thing to make it more useful into the mid to late game, which isn't too shabby there. And all in all, it's just kind of a fun, neat looking gun with some custom animations, and just, you know, a nice, fun new weapon to have. Now, as for how you do get your hands on one of these lovely things, well, it's pretty simple. They'll start showing up at level 19, specifically on Institute synths and other Institute staff. And they are going to be pretty rare. Again, these are sort of the early prototypes of Institute weapons, so there's not many of them left around. As well, my guess, the Institute probably recycled things, etc. That would make sense. Now, once you do pick one of these up, though, you will have the ability to go over to any chemistry station in the world and build it for yourself in the Photon Disruptor category for just a bit of adhesive, aluminum, copper, gears, glass, oil, plastic, rubber, and springs. And there you go, you'll have your very own Photon Disruptor. But there is also one more way, as well. What if when you load in this mod, the Institute is no more and you won't be able to grab one of these off of a synth or other Institute staff member? Well, you're still in luck. If the Institute is gone, the mod will auto-detect that and just allow you to make it at any chemistry station, which is a pretty neat little addition to give us. Very nice. Now, let us grab my modified versions here, and we'll head on over to the weapon workbench to take a look at the modifications we do have available. And starting with the capacitor category, where we've got, you know, the pretty typical sorts of things of standard, tuned, penetrating, etc. And we have them in either semi-automatic or automatic versions down here, which is pretty darn cool, so you can get a lot of good options here. Always nice. And then in the barrel category, we have quite a list of different barrels. We either have extended, standard, advanced, and advanced long barrels here. And we have them in either the standard or sort of light versions, which is always cool as well. So a lot of fun options in here to really change up the look of the gun, and of course, you know, change up some of the stats. And then in the stock category, we either have the standard stockless, a stockless light grip, just with some holes drilled in the darn thing, a standard stock, light stock, simple light, slim light, full, advanced, and both of those, of course, being in light versions as well. Though I do want to, I'll show you in a moment, there is a weird glitch with the advanced stock, which I found out when I was trying to display the guns on the table, but I'll show that in a moment. But there is some oddities with that when it's in the world. When it's on your person, you're perfectly fine. But again, we'll show that in a moment. And then we have the modifier category here, which is just a fun way to sort of change up the gun a little more. Just adds a little modifier part right up front here. And we got things like the coil recoil pack, combustor, splitter, radiation infuser, plasmator, energy repeater, or even an RTG, which will greatly increase your ammo. And these will just change up, adding more damage, doing things like adding in radiation damage, and fun stuff like that. Just another good way to make this gun a bit more useful for you. And finally, we have the sights category, where we've either got nothing, an iron sight, a glow sight, reflex sight, and various short and long scopes in recon or night vision varieties. So not a huge list here, but enough to make this thing what you want, hopefully. Just none of the other sort of unique scopes we tend to find with a lot of other guns these days. But all in all, a very good selection of modifications that'll really help this thing bring up a lot more damage and, you know, change up a few things here and there, making it more useful for you later into the game. I still don't know if I'd call it a late game weapon, certainly. Like, the most powerful single shot one without any perks, as per usual I was able to get it to, is 96 here with this Marksman Overcharge Photon Disruptor. But still, you know, once you do add in some perks into the mix, that should be able to go up a bit further. But yeah, still, I don't know if I'd call it, I'd say maybe late mid game, personally. Now, as for that weird issue I was having with that particular marksman stock, if I drop the gun into the world, whoops, wrong button, I hit X instead of R, there we go, you'll notice the stock's up there. The other stocks don't do this. It's only that particular stock. The other ones I have no issues with. But yes, for some reason, this one just stays in the air and the gun falls to the ground. Even if I move around the gun itself, the stock stays. But there we go. It's a minor oddity, not something that would ever actually affect you in your play, because, well, it's going to be in your inventory most of the time. But yeah, just a fun little note there. So let's head on over here to the firing range and take some shots. And there we go. I do love this reload animation on this thing, because it's pretty cool that the heat vents in, like, the middle part sort of, like, flare out with some, well, heat, and then the whole front of the gun actually moves forward to eject the fusion cell there, to then reload. It's a pretty cool little animation. I quite enjoy it. It's pretty darn neat. Now, the gun itself does have a fair amount of recoil, as you can see here, for an energy weapon. I'll still never understand that in the game, but that's just game mechanics, sadly, but is pretty easily controllable, especially with some of the other capacitors. You can get it pretty easily to stay on target, especially if I do go to, say, the marksman one here that I did put a scope onto. This particular one, with the modifications I've done, gives barely any kickback at all. I did not move the gun in the slightest there, and we basically went from, like, there to there as we were aiming, so not too bad at all. But still, even on these modified ones, I do love that the different capacitors up front still get slid forward, which is just, I don't know, I really like that animation. It's pretty darn neat. Now, then, of course, we've got the fully automatic ionized one here, which adds in the radiation damage, and this is the one that'll actually also change the color from the blue beam to now having a green beam, since, of course, we do have that additional radiation damage on there, which is, again, just pretty neat. So let's jump on over this way and grab our usual Deathclaw and see how that goes with this gun. There we go. There's our little play friend. And are you... Oh, yeah, this character doesn't have what I need to see. Their resistances... Well, let's see how you do against radiation damage. Not bad, not bad. I'll maybe be able to kill you. Granted, it'll take a few shots. I probably should have done the RTG one instead on this for fully automatic, considering, you know, the higher ammo capacity, but I decided to go with the radiation because I was curious what it was going to do and look like. I was particularly interested if it was going to change the beam, which it did thankfully do. And there we go, that Deathclaw is down. Nice. That actually worked pretty darn good. Okay, well, what the heck, let's spawn another one in here. Run on up and grab out the other one, our highest just single damage that we were able to get. And... oh, God, it'd help if I actually hit the guy. There we go. Please stop running, Deathclaw. I need you to stand still somewhere so I can just shoot you. There we go. He's almost dead. Nice. All right, well, let's reload and go down to the bottom of the stairs. We'll finish him off. Come back here, please, now, Deathclaw. Oh, there we go. There we go. And he is down. Magnificent. Yeah, all in all, this is a pretty fun, neat little gun that I have very much found myself enjoying, and I do love, despite its bulky nature, I do quite like that it is, or rather it has that whole lore reason for its existence, with being that predecessor to the modern Institute weaponry. I think it looks certainly the part in that regard, and is just a neat little gun. So if you'd like to take a look at this weapon for yourself, which I'd certainly recommend you go and do, you can have a look at the link in the video as per usual. But that's gonna be it for this one today, my friends. Hopefully you have enjoyed and you come back for the next. But until that time, thank you for watching as always. Well, have a good one.